This is a very exciting time in HIV prevention. Never before in the history of HIV prevention and on a global scale has there been such an awareness, a global awareness, the age of enlightenment in HIV prevention, where there's more awareness, more communication, more empowerment, more hope. My name is Robert Brandon Sandor. I am the founder of Serosorting, and more importantly, Safe Sex Serosorting as International HIV Prevention Strategies. And the reason why I'm producing these videos to you today is because nobody else will. Since the mid-1990s and to this day, no HIV agency, expert or professional or organization has taken the time out to tell you about the PAUSE code. This is the topic we're discussing today in this video. Why is the PAUSE code important? Because it's HIV status disclosure. It's also a sign of unity from HIV positive people supporting HIV negative people's right to remain HIV negative. It's about communication, it's about awareness and education. I'm going to produce a series of videos, not only on this topic, but other topics that may be of interest to you. I encourage you to download them, save them on your hard drives for future reference. My goal in these videos is to teach you what I know since the mid-1990s to this day about status disclosure, about serosorting, the economics, the law, the psychological benefits, the whole shebang. And here's one step further. Since the mid-1990s and to this day, I have extended an invitation to the HIV agencies, organizations, experts, professionals, and researchers across the United States, but most importantly here in New York City, to join me at the negotiating table. They've all declined my invitation. So this video is supporting evidence to you, the general public, that my invitation still stands. If you're an HIV expert, or an organization, an agency, professional, or researcher, and you're here in the city of New York, I invite you to the negotiating table. Let's discuss this in a public forum with the media present. My brief message today, before we begin with the PowerPoint presentation, is I have three messages. One for the HIV researchers, one for entrepreneurs looking to make a quick buck on this, and also for our high school students and university students. My message to researchers is that there's funding out there, tons of funding. All you have to do is ask for it. But you're asking the wrong questions. You're all focused on serosorting, which is unsafe sex. We both know that HIV negative people can't have safe sex and remain HIV negative. Therefore, with the status disclosure increasing in society and the stigma decreasing, that's one area of research you can do on a city-by-city level and on a nationwide level. All you have to do is get your pilot studies together for each individual city, and all you have to do is put it together for a national study. There are tons of pilot studies in that idea alone. You can do African Americans, Latino Americans, you can do by age group, income level, educational level, you can do by each individual city. So right there in itself, I've given you an unlimited amount of research ideas. All you have to do is write your grant funding proposals and ask for the money. And again, the status disclosure has increased since the mid-1990s, and the stigma has decreased. So now, here's one for the psychologists out there. What is the psychology of society when it comes to HIV prevention now and status disclosure? For the entrepreneurs out there, you can make a buck on this. Hey, we've already got the PAUSE code. This is a sticker I have on the back of my truck. I have a video on YouTube you can take a look at. This is the PAUSE code temporary tattoo. There's another video I have on this YouTube channel that shows me wearing it at the beach. More importantly, let's say, for an example, I get into my truck, I'm down on the highway, I get into a car accident, I'm unconscious. Well, here's the dog tag. If EMS comes up to me, how am I to tell them I'm HIV positive? I can't. I'm unconscious. But if they see me wearing the POS code, they already know. So if you're an EMS worker out there, or you're working with firefighting or in law enforcement, and you see somebody wearing the POS code, we're doing our part to help make your job better. Lastly, what about our high school students and university students? Why don't you start a debate team? Discuss the POS code, the pros and cons, as status disclosure, not only for the individual, but also for the group. Not only in your school, but what about in your towns and your cities? What about a nation? How about on a global scale? What about forming an HIV-negative support group at your school, at your high school or your college? There's an unlimited amount of HIV-positive support groups. So how come HIV-negative people are not being supported? Why are they being left out? I was HIV positive back in 1983. The doctor came up to me after I got the test results and said, Mr. Sandor, get your affairs in order. You've got less than 1 year to live. Well, what if an HIV negative person in the world today, our students, our young people, who is handling their needs? Are they a factor in this equation of HIV prevention? There's money to be made there too. Creating social networking websites, creating activities, events for HIV negative people. And finally, a personal message. Anybody in New York City who's a producer, who can make my videos better, help me make my videos more professional, I greatly appreciate that. And guess what? You can actually get money for that too. Why? Because it's under the realm of HIV education. Therefore, by supplying society with these educational videos, if you're a producer here in New York City, you can make the money. Now, before I get to the video, a lot of my information you're going to question, especially if you think that you're an HIV expert or professional. Well, that's good, because I'm already published. I was published last year. Everything you hear, everything you've seen on my videos is published right here. Starting right here. Living the promise of HIV prevention. Action speaks louder than words or funding. My name is Robert Brandon Sandor. I am the founder of Serosorting and Safe Sex Serosorting as international HIV prevention strategies. And these are my videos. I have a question. It's really a very simple question. It would seem to be a simple question after 30 years of HIV. You'd think that this would be a no-brainer. And it only requires a simple yes or no answer. This is the 21st century, and there are no ifs, ands, or buts. There are no maybes, and more importantly, there are no more excuses. Excuses will no longer be tolerated. But I have to warn you, this is truly a trick question. And it depends on who you are and who is asking the question. When really, if you're an individual, you're going to answer it one way. If you're HIV positive or you're HIV negative, well, there's two separate answers there as well, two different perspectives of the question. If you're an HIV agency, organization, expert, or professional, well, there's 4 more variations of an answer to this question, depending on also who's asking the question. And if you're with the drug makers, the HIV drug makers here in the United States of America, if you're answering the question, well, that's another degree. But when you really come down to it, even though there's so many variations to how the question could be addressed and who can reply, when you really come down to it, on a nationwide scale, it only comes down to one of 2 answers, yes or no. So it depends on how serious you are about stopping the spread of HIV. But then there's another element. Do you understand what the question is asking? It's easy just to answer, yes, I want to stop the spread of HIV. That's a no-brainer. Anybody can answer that question. But then again, do you understand what the question is asking? Well, the question is asking you if you agree that the spread of HIV must be stopped. You said yes. Therefore, you agree that HIV-negative people are, in fact, the future. If this is not true, then what is the ultimate goal of HIV prevention programs? And why would anyone, even you, want to fund these programs? So are you understanding what the question is asking? The question is asking you, do you want to stop the spread of HIV, yes or no? Well, then what is the consequences? What is the ultimate goal of HIV prevention programs? And why would anyone want to continue funding these programs? It's because HIV-negative people are, in fact, the future.